morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Morning Stories. Let's sit back, relax, have a nice cup of hot tea, and let's get started. So this Sunday Morning Stories is something I've been reflecting a lot, especially now that I'm recently single, almost last month. And this one is about someone you guys may have heard about. You've seen him on my channel a lot when I was graduating high school and whatnot. And it's about Brandon Hamby. Now, Brandon, some of you guys may have heard about it, heard about our story a little bit, with the breakup, and then, of course, he was on my channel a few times. I don't know about you guys, but he was so much fun to be on my channel, especially if he's, awkward in the corner and I'm doing all the talking. But yeah, it's just during our relationship, when I talk about him to a lot of people, they're like, how did you guys meet? How did this turn about? And then once we broke up, a lot of people are like, uh-oh, what happened? So this is just answering all of your questions about the brick hole relationship, especially, since he is my first real serious relationship. No doubt. So how did we meet? We actually met through mutual friends at a wedding here in the Portland area. Actually, it was in Hillsboro. I remember the venue. Well, let's go back. I actually saw him at a church up on a hill not far from downtown Portland. And it's just I was 17. I was going through a lot of stuff. If you don't know, check out one of my earlier ones that will give you in-depth stories of what I went through when I was 17. But yeah, I was recovering from a tough time, and I thought, hey, why not? It would be cool to go to this wedding. And the wedding was actually my friend who I'd grown up on the same street with. It was her mom that got married. And so I went there with my brother and my sister, not my biological brother and sister, but my brother and sister that I've grown up with. And we were sitting, it was stage left, almost the middle rows or something like that. It was a very small venue for the ceremony. He was actually on the opposite side, but front row. So I remember this because it was I was sitting down, I was like, this is going to be another boring one. He turned around just to see, do I recognize anybody? I don't know what he was thinking at that moment, but that's what I thought. And when he turned around, he kind of caught my eye. I was like, It was almost like a slap in the face kind of moment. It was that kind of moment where you get slapped in the face. And during the entire ceremony, I wasn't even paying attention. Well, I may have, but I just remember not paying attention and focusing on him and analyzing who he is as a person. And I thought, 22, possibly engaged, and looking for a job. He's that guy that is so old, so scruffy, that he would fit this criteria. And here I am at 17. I was haven't been in a relationship in a while. And so I thought, I don't know if I'm going to run into him. I was that kind of girl that was I don't want to bug him and everything. And I think we almost ran into each other after the ceremony. We may have, but I don't know. But yeah, it was a few hours later when we went to the reception. I don't know why they broke it up. Maybe it's just get the kids to eat lunch and whatever. I don't know what the situation was. So when we went to the reception in Hillsboro, So we went to the reception, and I thought, he's not gonna be there. But he was there. And he was sitting with all the little girls that are like younger than us. And I thought, oh, maybe I can sit. No. I was like, yeah, no. And I decided to sit with my friend and her friends, which I was like bored out of my mind. I mean, we could have just sat next to each other. And so I was like, I don't know. I think I was trying to impress him with a speech. Like, it was an open mic speech moment, and I decided, let me do that. And yeah, it was something that I never written it down. I just decided, hey, why not? And I was very proud of myself at that moment. But then once the whole, first dances, speeches, that's over. It was an open dance on the dance floor. I kind of meandered my way across the dance floor to him, where he was sitting, and he was just sitting like this, bored out of his mind, like. And I actually had a friend sitting across, sitting like almost next to him, that we share the same name. And we met like after the ceremony. So we were like chatting, and then she had to leave to go to the bathroom or whatever. And there he was. And I was like, okay, how can I do this? And I was like, hi there. And this is exactly what he did. He was like, and I was like, well, this guy's not interested. Okay. Blow me off. Oh my gosh. Whenever we talked about it, he was like, oh, shy and everything. And I'm like, whatever. But then she came back and she noticed that I was trying to interact with him, and I was there, and she's like, okay, let's do a game. Truth, one lie. And that started us talking, and I found out, he was not, 22. It was like he just turned 18 recently. Like he had a birthday, a few weeks prior or something like that. And yeah, we've been talking like all night. We tried to dance, but it was a little awkward for the both of us because, again, I had to rediscover myself. And then we went out into the patio and we talked more. And that moment I was like, this is perfect. And yeah, we talked and talked and talked. And I realized, we had a lot in common. We shared our experiences, being on the swim team. And by the time my parents are like, hey, we gotta go. And I was like, hey, can I get your phone number? He gave me the home phone. Oh, man, he should have given me his own phone number, and but I didn't care. I mean, if he gave me his phone number, I'm good. And so yeah, we when we got into the car, everyone's like, "Oh, who's this guy?" I was like, his name's Brandon. I don't think I'll ever see him again. Usually, when I meet people somewhere, I'm like, never going to see him again. That kind of deal. That's just me. It's like one and done. And but yeah, we did communicate. We did call. We did text for a good almost like 3 months, like 2.5 months. And then somewhere around July, he contacted me and said, "Hey, do you have Twitter?" And I was like, "Not Twitter. I mean, we were talking on Twitter." He was like, "Hey, do you have Skype?" I was like, "I deleted it a long time ago, but let me get this started going again." And I did, and I was like, "Hey, here's my username," and saw each other after like 2.5 months, and we're like, whoa. And the difference between then, it was like, at that time, I was wearing a bunch of makeup, and then at that time, I was wearing, like, no makeup at all. I was like this. And I remember later, he told me, like, when he saw me then, he immediately fell in love with me even more. Like, that's when he, like, boom. And yeah, it was, like, it was kind of a weird thing. I was like, hey. Yeah, we video chatted, like, every day, the entire, a whole week straight. And I was telling my mom all about it, and I remember my mom was like, telling him, talking about like what he looked like, and she's like, "Oh, brown-eyed babies." And I was like, "No, no, Mom, no, I'm not planning to marry him." 17-year-old Nicole, you're going to talk about marrying him. So yeah, we talked, and then about a week later, I was like, "Hey, do you like me? Because I'm starting to like you." And he's like, "I have liked you for a while." And I was like, "Cool." Like, the entire time, I was like sending out like, messages to him, and he was not picking up on it. And one time he sent me like a "Good Morning Beautiful" text, and I was like, whoa. And that was the first time that ever happened to me. I was like, whoa, what the hell? And he's like, "Well, you're beautiful, so I think that." And I was like, no, not yet. And then about a few days after, when we were like, "I like you," we kind of went. He was going through a rough night. It was really rough night. Like, he was crying and like really upset about something, and I wanted to help him and everything. And I was like, you know what? It's a little much. It shouldn't be my business. I gotta go. Bye. Good night. Kind of situation. And it was that moment I realized I cared about him. Like, at that point, I never cared about anybody else in my life except him. I was like, whoa, I cared about him. And I thought, because of the situation he's going through, he may not video chat for a little while. But he texted me saying, "Hey, I just want to be with you," and stuff like that. And I was like, I know. And he was like, I remember the text so vividly. He said, "I know it's too soon, but I just want to say I love you." That was the text. And I was like, wait, what? Like, nobody said I love you outside of my family. So it was like, what? And I had to read it like 5 times. I was like, "Oh, are you serious?" And he was like, "I had to get it off my chest or something." And I was like, oh man. But I didn't sleep at all that night, because I was like, thinking about him and thinking about a possible wedding and possibly getting married down the line, and which, spoiler, we did. But yeah, it was like, I only had 3 hours of sleep. Like, I had to sleep at some point, but I couldn't sleep at all that night. And for about 6 days, I was like, I didn't want to say I love you right off the bat, because I wanted to, like, process and, like, think of either 2 things. Am I crazy, or am I in love? Or am I in love? Or, and, when can I say it? At first, I wanted to say it on my birthday, because why not get a boyfriend for your birthday? But yeah, I was, like, thinking, you know what? If the time's right, the time's right. And I wanted to tell him, like, 6 days later. So on the day of August 6, 2016, I got home from watching the OSU college football team skirmish at Summit High School. And so basically, my dad dropped me off at home, and then he joined the rest of everybody camping. So I was camping for like 2 nights, and they did like 3 or whatever. And I was so excited to contact him that I tried to video call him, and I'm like, what? I was like, you son of a... He's not contacting me. I tried calling him multiple times, but I was like, he's not contacting me. So about, I don't know, 5 hours later, he contacted me, and he was red as a lobster, like, from the waist up. He was red as a lobster. And I was like, "Oh, you volunteered at the Hillsborough Air Show." And he's like, "Yep." And this poor guy, he didn't have aloe vera or anything. And he had lotion, but that would cause trouble. That would cause suspicion. But yeah, we talked for a little bit, and then I kind of slipped it in there. I was like, I love you. And he was like, what? And I said, I was very choked up. And I was like, I love you, Brandon. And he slowly grinned and said, I love you too. And we just burst out giggling. Because it was like, it's so weird. Like, I think at that point, that was the bravest thing I've ever done. Like, still, to this day, it's like the bravest thing I've ever done. I mean, breaking up with Mike was kind of brave, but I've been a heartbreaker. But just saying I love you to someone, you know, how I felt it was like a lot. So we actually made it official, and then I went to my best friend's birthday party and said, hey, this is what's going on. And we kept saying it when I got home, just saying, I love you more, I love you most, that kind of thing. So we finally met in person, what was it, September? Yeah, it was around September 10th or 11th or something like that. And I remember when I was meeting him for the first time, I was so nervous. I was like, whoa! And I was like, Dad, can you assist me? So we went down, and he was there, and I hugged him. He hugged me tighter, and I embraced it, and my mom said it was, like, the most beautiful thing she's seen. And it felt beautiful. Looking back, it was like, wow, that really is beautiful. And so that was that. It was a really wonderful overnighter. I mean, we floated down the river. We man, what else did we do? He just spent the night. I mean, we floated down the river. He gave me a freaking promise ring. Our first kiss was in the attic of my house, which is not something that we had in mind for a first kiss, but oh well. And he gave me a promise ring, and I don't have it with me anymore. So, and it was a really fun weekend. I think that was like one of the best weekends I ever had with anybody. So I have to admit, like, he was there. I mean, not physically there, but he was there with me throughout my senior year. Like, he was there, you know, when I was, you know, in swim team, like, when I got injured. He was, when I said, hey, I'm not going to go to this meet, he, along with everybody else, they were like, no, go, and go to it. And he was like, why don't you meet Trevor? I'm like, no, I made the decision, babe. And, so that was that, and we actually went to prom together. I actually talked about prom in Sunday Morning Stories, and he was there. Like, he surprised me during, you know, graduation. Like, he surprised me at my graduation party. Like, the story of it was like, he said, oh, I'm going to go down to the beach, and I'm like, okay, cool, you're missing out on something. That kind of thing. But what I heard is that once they get in the van, his mom's like, give me your phone, we're going to Bend. And that was a surprise for him, and it was a surprise for me. And but yeah, it was really, you know, that whole year, the first year, it was like really fun. It was like at our we were in Cloud 9 with each other. We see each other often, and like, not too often, if that makes sense, but it's often. And but then when college happens, which is a little after our 1 year. Oh yeah, for our 1 year, we celebrated early by, you know, going to the Evergreen Water Park, and then we recreated our first kiss. Not first kiss, our first date, which our first date was in the Christmas season. We went to the old spaghetti factory, and then we waited for, you know, our parents to pick us up at the movie theater nearby, which I actually went to the same movie theater to see Midway with a friend, which is crazy. I was like, oh. But yeah, it was like the first year was really fun, really amazing, and then by the time I started college, we kind of slowly, you know, went downhill. I noticed it around, November or whatever. I noticed something, it's not going well. And I noticed it, I should have listened to him. I shouldn't have, doubt him or whatever. But, he was like, yeah, I don't have any dreams, He was like, yeah, I don't have any dreams. I don't have any goals. I'm like, well, you got to figure something out. I'm pretty sure you do. But I didn't realize that until, realized he was just serious. Until, I was in college. Like, in college, we're in completely different worlds. Like, for me, I was living by myself next to my parents, at 19, working part-time, going to school full-time. He was, like, working part-time, living with his mom and dad, and don't have any ambitions to do otherwise. So that was a really, really big strain in the relationship. And my mom notices that by, like, Thanksgiving, he came to visit and was a little rough. Anyways, he may want it to be, like, happy and stuff like that, but I just realized, I don't know how we can do this. Especially in the position we are now. And, I think by, beginning of the year, of 2018, it went downhill pretty fast. And we were, like, constantly fighting. We were fighting on, like, him and everything else. And he was like, I'm trying. I'm like, no, you're not trying. You're just sitting in your couch, like, in your butt and everything. You're not doing anything. And then finally I was like, come to the conclusion that it's not going to work. I don't think it would work. And we had plans for the future. We wanted to move in together when I moved to Portland. We had dreams of getting married and having kids and stuff like that. And yeah, so I broke up with him, what was it, like the 28th or something? It was about the 28th of January. It was possibly one of my worst days that I had to deal with. He texted me, and I was like, I don't want to do it over text. And he called, and I said, hey, I don't think it's going to work anymore. And he was crying and saying, why are you doing this? No. And that broke my heart. And I was like, and he tried texting me after that, and he was like, why are you doing this? I'm like, listen, kid, don't make it harder than it is on me. Get over it, kind of situation. Like, I had to give tough love right there. And then that was it. And, so the 6 days were, like, really tough. Like, I didn't believe about the whole, like, I can't live without you kind of situation until that moment. Like, I couldn't function for a good, like, couple days. And then after, like, 4 days or whatever, I was, like, doing okay. I was, like, fighting with my mom, and I wasn't getting along with... I feel like I didn't have as much support as I do now when I broke up with Mike. It's like I had to fight this heartache alone, basically, in that moment. And then one time, Brandon actually contacted me and was like, hey, can you help me with something? And then realized it was deja vu. We still had feelings for each other, and for about 7 months we actually continued the communicating with each other. It was kind of like a are we not kind of situation. And then by the summer we were like not communicating at all, like barely. And then he kind of became a jerk and didn't care, didn't want to take up much time for me, and I said, you know what, I'm done. Go. And I actually sent him a letter, and that was it. And he tried to contact me, and I was like, yo, no. End of the line. Bye. Kind of situation. And that when I officially ended it with Brandon, I was like, wow, a lot of doors open. Like, I went into OSU Cascade. Like, if I stayed with him, I wouldn't have gone to OSU Cascades. I wouldn't have met two wonderful men that I met on OkCupid. Like, whoa. And one of those men that I've dated is now my really good friend. And yeah, it was a lot of doors opened up for me. I mean, if that didn't happen to me, I mean, I would have been stuck, to be honest. And I'm glad for that to happen. And also here's a little like spoiler. So recently he contacted me. It was in April. He was like, "Hey, I know that you're in a relationship now, but I just want to say I'm sorry." And I was like, "You know what? I'm sorry too for being a jerk." And we communicated for a good week, and then I said, instead of just saying bye, like being a total meanie, I was like, "Hey, Perch, look at me, you little piehead. You can do this. You're going to move out. You're going to find a roommate. You got good things ahead of you. Don't ruin it." Kind of situation. It was like positive affirmation for him, and he was like, "Okay." I was like, "Bye." And that was it. I mean, I never told Mike about it. I mean, even if Mike and I stay together, I mean, I wouldn't even tell him about it unless, he passed away or whatever. Brandon passed away or whatever. So yeah, that was the story of the complicated story of me and Brandon. Yeah, he put like a very special place in my heart. Like, yeah, we were both in the same situation. Like, we never knew what true love was until we came into each other. Like, we never been in a long-term relationship. Like, it was, for both of us, it was like a first for, what love was and how to manage a relationship. And he actually, I had to give him props for, prepping me for another long-distance relationship with Mike. So I give him full credit, 100%, as for all this. And especially, right now, I was thinking, maybe we should mend ties or something. I don't know, but at the same time, he's better off without me, and I'm better off without him. We're in two different worlds. He's in a world where he's just trying to fight through life and trying to figure out where he's going, and I'm still figuring that out, but I had a pretty good, solid idea. Next week's Sunday Morning Stories is going to be a really fun anniversary. It's going to be 5 years of R5, and I will tell you all about it next week. So